Hi everyone, so in this video we're going to be doing some more examples of the simplex method. So let's go ahead and jump in. If you haven't seen part 1 or 2, make sure to go watch those first, otherwise this isn't going to make much sense. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and take these and turn it into an e-system. So 2x1 plus 6x2 plus s1 equals 18. 4x1 plus 2x2 plus s2 equals 16. For our profit equation, and forgot to put my variables down here, but let's go ahead and get all four of the variables greater than or equal to 0. Then our profit equation, we just move the x's to the left and set it equal to 0. Okay, so for our tableau, we're going to have x1, x2, s1, s2, p, and the number on the side. On the left, we're going to start off with our slack variables and p. And let's go ahead and put in our constraints. So 2, 6, 1, 0, 0, 18. Our second one is 4, 2, 0, 1, 0, 16. And then our profit equation is -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 0. Okay, so once we get here, first thing that we're going to do is pick our pivot column. So remember, for the column, it's the number at the bottom, and it has to be negative, and it's the one with the biggest absolute value. Well, in this case, we actually have two -1s. They're the exact same. So in that case, we actually get to pick which one we want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick this first column. But you could also pick the second column, and you're going to get to the same thing in the end. Alright, next up, for our row, we take the numbers on the right and divide it by the numbers in our column. So 18 divided by 2 is 9, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. Pick the smallest one, and so our pivot is 4. Okay, so this time our pivot is not 1. So in that case, we are actually going to have to change that to a 1 first. So the operation to change it to a 1 is just dividing that row by whatever number is there. So it's row 2, and we're going to divide it by 4. That'll be our new row 2. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite our tableau. And I'm not going to worry about the entering and exiting yet. You can. Actually, you know what? Just so nobody gets confused, let's go ahead and do that now as well. So don't forget, x1 was the one that enters. S2 is going to be the one that exits. So just so we don't forget later, let's go ahead and put x1 right there. Alright, so row 1 and 3 don't change. So for row 1, it's still going to be 2, 6, 1, 0, 0, 18. For row 2, though, that one we're going to be dividing everything by 4. So if we go ahead and divide all of this by 4, we're going to get 1, 1/2, 0, 1/4, 0, 4. And again, just let your calculator do the work there. I know fractions aren't many students' favorite thing in the world, so let your calculator do the work and get those fractions for you. I do recommend keeping all of these in fractions and not turning any of them into decimals, just because later on we are going to get some fractions that aren't nice decimals. They keep repeating forever and things like that, so fractions are just the easier way to go. All right, and then the bottom row will stay like that. All right, next step. So for the next step, we need to get zeros above and below our pivot. So this part we've done before. It would be -2 times row 2 plus row 1 replaces row 1, as well as +1 times row 2 plus row 3 will replace row 3. So off to the side, let's go ahead and do that scratch work, get that part done. So we're going to have -2 row 2 plus row 1. Then we're also going to have 1 row 2 plus row 3. So -2 times row 2, again, use your calculator for those fractions. It's going to be -2, -1, 0, -1/2, 0, -8. Row 1 exactly how it is 2, 6, 1, 0, 0, 18. So if we add those up, it's 0, 5, 1, -1/2, 0, 10. And that's going to be our new row 1. Let's do the same thing for the other operation. 1 times row 2 wouldn't change it at all, so that means we're just going to use 1, 1/2, 0, 1/4, 0, 4. Then row 3 exactly how it is, -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 0. Add these up, it's 0, -1/2, 0, 1/4, 1, and 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these into our next tableau. So again, as always, let's go ahead and put all of the variables up top first. We didn't have a new pivot, so our labels on the left are staying the exact same. And if you hadn't done the entering and exiting variables yet, now's your last chance to do them. You do want that x1 on the side by now. So we have a new row 1, 0, 5, 1, -1/2, 0, 10. Row 2 stays the same, so 1, 1/2, 0, 1/4, 0, 4. And then P is -1, our new row 3 is 0, -1/2, 0, 1/4, 1, and 4. Okay, so here's the thing. I said that we'll know we're done if we have no negatives in the bottom row. Well, unfortunately, we do have a negative this time. So that basically means that we need to start this process over. Luckily, we don't have to make our initial tableau or anything like that. We don't have to make an e-system, all of that stuff. But we do have to start again at finding the pivot. So as soon as you see a negative on the bottom row, we're going to find our pivot again, get the ones and zeros, and then hopefully we won't have any negatives after that. All right, so let's go ahead and start. There's only one number on the bottom that is negative, so that would be the biggest negative. So that is our column. If we divide 10 by 5, we get 2. Divide 4 by 1/2, that's 8. And so here is our row, which means the 5 is going to be our pivot. So first thing is, like before, we need to turn that 5 into a 1. How do we do that? We divide it by 5. So we're going to take row 1, we're going to divide it by 5. All right. Let's go ahead and write our new tableau. If we divide all of row 1 by 5, we're going to get 0, 1, 1/5, negative 1/10, 0, 2. For the second and third rows, they're not changing at all. So 1, 1/2, 0, 1/4, 0, 4, and 0, negative 1/2, 0, 1/4, 1, 4. Right? Now again, we have another entering and exiting variable. So on the left-hand side, x2 is going to go where s1 was. Then we still have x1 and p. Those didn't exit, so those don't change. All right, next up, we need to do our row operations. So we're trying to get both of these to zeros. So our row operations are going to be negative 1/2 row 1 plus row 2 and positive 1/2 times row 1 plus row 3. All right, so let's go ahead and do those. Starting with negative 1/2 row 1 plus row 2, and then positive 1/2 row 1 plus row 3. All right, let's go ahead and start with the negative 1/2 row 1 plus row 2. So negative 1/2 times row 1 is going to be 0, negative 1/2, negative 1/10, positive 1/20, 0, and then negative 1. Again, I don't expect you to do any of those in your head. Please use a calculator. If you have a TI 83 or 84, just know that if it gives you a decimal, just press the math button and then enter, and it will change it into a fraction for you. So you don't even have to worry about changing it to a fraction. It can do that too. All right, row 2. So row 2, exactly how it is 1, 1/2, 0, 1/4, 0, 4. All right, so let's go ahead and add all of these up. So we get 1, 0, negative 1/10, and this one's going to be 3/10, 0, and 3. That's our new row 2. All right, let's figure out the other operation. So luckily, 1/2 times row 1, we already did negative 1/2 times row 1, so it's just going to be those same numbers, but opposite signs. So 0, 1/2, 1/10, negative 1 over 20, 0, and positive 1. Row 3, exactly how it is 0, negative 1/2, 0, 1/4, 1, and 4. And then let's go ahead and add these up. So we get 0, 0, 1/10, 1/5, if you do reduce that fraction, then 1 and 5. Cool, so let's go ahead and make our last tableau. This will be our final tableau, I promise. So x1, x2, s1, s2, p, and number. We still have x2, x1, and p on the side. So for row 1, we didn't change it. 0, 1, 1/5, negative 1/10, 0, 2. Row 2, we did change. So 1, 0, negative 1/10, 3/10, 0, 3. And then our last row we changed as well. 0, 0, 1/10, 1/5, 1, and 5. And luckily, there are no negatives anywhere in that bottom row, which means we are, in fact, done with the problem. So all we gotta do is say our answer. So remember, only the variables that are up here are gonna have the values. So x1 is going to be 3. x2 is going to be 2. And p is 5. For the record, S1 and S2 are both 0 because they weren't on the left. So we have a max of 5 at 3, 2. And that is our answer. All right, I'm going to cut this video off here. We still have one more example to go like this, and then we'll do one example of a word problem as well in the next couple videos. Again, I know these videos are long, but I really just want to make sure that you do have a lot of examples. So I apologize for the length, but I want to make sure that I am showing you every single step. All right, so that said, I will see you in the next part. Thank you.